there is something satisfying to me about Donald Trump suing the BBC for $5 billion. It's so cartoonish for
It's a lot
five
of money.
billion.
Oh, welcome to Outrage Factory. This is Dale. Super awake and stuff because it's noon instead of 8 p.m. And I wanted to apologize in advance if you hear any construction noises because even though it's noon on Saturday, those tryhards next door are doing construction shit and hammer drilling, which is the loudest, most obnoxious thing ever. So if you hear that, it's not my fault. It's not my production quality or my mic or my lighting, which is different. Because I'm in the living room because Andrea went to Alberta. So I'm just living the stag life.
Are you enjoying that? I bet
Yeah,
you
I
are.
played video games till 3 a.m. like a loser. It was great.
Yeah.
I was like
Where's
playing
your
video games and I look at the clock. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, what am I doing with my life? And then I just slept happily.
how are your testosterone levels?
Probably low.
Yeah,
How
probably.
do you tell if they're low? I've had tests and stuff from the doctor because I was like, I wanted to blame me being tired and fat on not having testosterone. And the doctor was like, no, you're just shitty.
Well, doctors don't know dick about shit, but I think it's all circumstantial. That's the only way you can know. So if, say, your wife goes away for the weekend and you spend the whole time playing video games, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say your testosterone's pretty low.
Nice. Wait, so if I get high testosterone, I can't just play video games for 2 days straight?
You can do that as well.
I don't think I want high testosterone. I think I'd rather just play video
No,
games.
makes your hair fall out, apparently. I don't know. I'm not a doctor either. And if I was, what would I know? I just came back from yesterday. So I had this ultrasound yesterday.
On your butt?
No.
Sorry.
Why would I need an ultrasound on my butt? What would they be looking for?
I don't
A
know. I'm a
GI
child,
Joe that I've
remember?
shoved up there?
Yeah, like that new TikTok trend.
Is that a new TikTok
Well,
trend?
there's I've seen
Those
like four.
Chinese, they're so unscrupulous.
There's like these women, they're like, I have never had anything on my butt, but my husband has. And then they pan to their husband and he's just like listing off things. Like they say, hey, what's in your toolbox or what's in your golf bag? And he's like, well, I have a Torx head screwdriver and a hammer. And so it makes it sound like he stuck all those up his butt. It's like hilarious maybe once, maybe half of a time. And you're like, I see what you did there. You tricky women.
I had to go. I think I mentioned this to you a couple of weeks ago. I had to go. So a couple of months ago, pretty sure I had a kidney stone.
Oh yeah, we talked about this, didn't we?
Yeah. So what happens is, my wife insists that I call a doctor, and I say, why? Why? I've got crippling back pain. It's going to
Mhm.
go eventually, whatever it is. And she says, no, you must talk to your doctor. So my doctor's a good guy, but he's a good guy.
Yeah.
But he literally says to me, he goes, oh yeah, so it sounds like a kidney stone. I'm like, correct. He goes, well, we'll send you off for some tests, and we'll get you an ultrasound, which will happen months from now and will be completely inconclusive.
I like your
And that's
doctor.
exactly what happened. I passed the thing, I felt it, like, whatever.
Hmm.
It's gone, and my back's fine. And then I go yesterday, and the point of the story is they put this gel all over you.
Nice.
My ultrasound technician was from North Carolina, but he puts this gel all over me, and it stinks. It smells like whatever it is that comes out of a pigeon's cloaca, but times a
Poop
thousand.
shit.
Yeah, he's rubbing it all over my abdomen, not my butt,
The
all over
front.
my. But
Wait,
yeah,
wait, wait,
yeah,
wait, wait, wait.
my
Oh, wait, wait, wait,
pubis.
wait,
It
wait,
goes
wait.
on my pubis.
Did you get an ultrasound on your dick?
No,
Oh,
fuck me. What is
I
wrong
mean,
with
I
you?
guess continue your
They're
story.
looking for crystals inside. It's a renal
Inside your
thing.
dick.
No.
Isn't that where the crystals come out?
Yes, they
I
do,
mean,
but
if
that's
I
not,
shot
they
fucking
don't, that's not where they
crystallized,
originate.
if I lost crystallized rocks out of my dick, I'd be like, hey, check my pee hole to make sure it's not fucking full of crystal shards please and thank you
No, he
while you're
didn't do
rubbing
that. I
this.
didn't ask him to do that. We both knew that the whole exercise was sort of futile, unless there's something that maybe he's going to find something, but I doubt it. I think,
Yeah, you
I
kind of don't
think
want him to find anything, right?
this has been quite an arc. We've been talking about my kidney stones for 3 weeks, three
Yes.
episodes of your podcast. And the story's coming to an end, people. But if you want a glimpse at healthcare in BC in 2025, there it is.
Hmm. It's slow and shitty, but at least we have it, not like the states who just had their shutdown and they weren't and it was all because, dude, I hate the fucking left and right so much in the states because it's like the left is like all of your premiums are gonna go up, and then the right's like, yeah, it's because Obamacare's bullshit, and that's just what your premiums were always supposed to be, but the government was doing socialism actually and like giving you like discounts on what you're paying to your insurance.
I think they were doing socialism for the insurance companies.
Yeah, well, basically what it is, every time socialism happens, private companies just make more money because the government's like, "We'll give you more money," and then the like insurance companies are like, "Oh, we can just make our rates go higher because everybody can pay this because the government's giving them money."
Sure, but can we at least be clear that nobody here in this story you're describing is practicing anything like socialism in its real sense?
No,
Okay.
I'm not saying
I
that.
think I
I'm
think we live in a time of great category error, and everybody throws these words around. There's, the socialists are not socialist, and the fascists aren't fascist, and there are socialists and fascists all over the place,
Yeah.
but they seem to elude our gaze.
Yeah, they kind of fucking blew their load on all the Nazi and fascist shit like during the election run up, and now that like Trump's doing some dumb shit, they're like, well, we already called him a Nazi, we already called him fascist, and that didn't work, so let's just call him a Nazi fascist some more.
The Canadian Parliament gave a standing ovation to an actual Nazi.
Oh, I remember
Like,
that.
yeah, so there that's not a category error when I say Nazi. The
Yeah.
guy was an active soldier for the Nazi Party,
Hmm.
and and yet, well, we've talked about this a lot. Everybody that walks into my bar has been called a fascist or a Nazi at some point. I don't think any of them actually are,
Yeah.
aside from the Ukrainians.
Thing. Do you have the Bezos battalion people coming into your bar?
I think I have people. It's actually a very tough situation because I have people walking into the bar. We have a very
Yeah.
big Ukrainian community in Canada, as you well know, and they're all my friends and they're all good people, and of course they all have their sympathies lie with Ukraine, of course. Um, and who am I to suggest that maybe they're not seeing the whole picture, or
Yeah.
that
I
that
just
their government has been seized by
yeah.
neo-fascists
I
with the
do
support of the
yeah.
West.
I
Who am
do
I
have
to say
yeah.
this? Sorry.
I just feel like I kind of got to like, because it's almost like heart wrenching how Nazis, or the Ukrainians ended up being Nazis because it was during World War II when, why the fuck did I just blank on his name? The leader of Russia.
In World War II,
Yeah, what was the leader of
Stalin?
Russia? Yeah, Stalin was starving Ukrainians to death to make a point because they didn't want to because they're the breadbasket of like basically Europe, and Stalin wanted to like do communism and take all their grain and stuff and let them be poor, whereas Ukraine was like, no, we don't want to. So Stalin was like, a large part of the people that Stalin of his own people that Stalin starved to death were Ukrainian. So Ukrainians saw this happening, and then they saw the Germans coming in to fight Stalin, and they're like, well, are we gonna fucking just let Stalin starve us to death, or are we gonna join forces with these Nazis to fight back against Stalin? So that's how, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's how you ended up with Nazis in Ukraine because they wanted to fight Stalin and they joined Hitler, which is like, I mean, if you got to pick between the two, you can't just you see where I'm coming from? It's like you can't just be like, well, one side, you're just like, well, fuck, what do you do? So I'm not saying it's okay that they're still there. Obviously, Hitler's gone, so those Nazis should be gone. But I'm just saying how there ended up to be Nazis in Ukraine on the first place.
Are we sure that Hitler's gone, first of all? And secondly,
Oh,
yeah, I agree. No one said it. In the words of the Four Horsemen, the rock band of the 90s, not the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. But no one said it was easy.
Hmm.
But
Never heard of the
yeah,
Four
no,
Horsemen.
it's very complicated. But Barry, the backdrop to all of this is that the Nazis didn't lose World War. The Germany lost World War II. The
Oh, I
Nazis,
like this.
they became a global diaspora.
That's true.
And the American, the U.S., the Anglo Empire is very Nazified and has been to this day. So there
Oh
are
yeah.
Nazis, but it's not some guy walking down the street saying that he objects to you know non-gendered bathrooms at his kid's school.
Yeah.
That's not a Nazi.
No,
The guy with an opinion.
that's true. The right opinion. Hey yo.
It's weird doing this during the day.
I know, right? It's like, yeah. Like usually I'm like we do it after work and it's 8, so I'm like mellowed out, but now I'm like I
Well,
haven't
and
even had my first coffee yet. I'm halfway
I'm
through
not
it.
drunk or
Is that why
high.
you don't like my butt and dink jokes? Because you're like not drunk enough to be on my level?
No, I
You're like,
just I
oh,
just
this
think it's
guy's
unfair. I'm thinking about our 7 listeners who don't want you planting that image in their minds. They don't want to think about some guy rubbing some sort of flame retardant gel on my bare ass cheeks and
poop
how
shit
that would
gel.
look. How that would look after he really rubs it in.
Hey, I will have you know our YouTube video, the last one we did, had, drum roll please, 30 viewers. Holy shit.
Amazing.
That's actually a lot.
More
I'm
people will
pumped.
walk into my bar tonight than that.
That's true.
So I
You
have
have
more
more
reach.
reach as a bartender than you do as this podcast does. Maybe you should be telling all your patrons to listen to our podcast.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No? No,
No, we
no,
need
I
we
get it.
we
I get
need those customers. on. No, that's my whole thing in life now is that I only share my opinions in one place and it's here on
Nice.
YouTube.
Oh, I'll just take all of your opinions on my chin.
Because what I'm doing is like I'm infiltrating all the
Nice.
worlds, but mostly the normie world because I have a lot of friends and a lot of people I love inside the normie world. I know if
Yeah.
they knew what I really thought about stuff, they wouldn't want to be my friends anymore. And
Uh,
and I can't do that. I'm done with this. I'm done with losing friends over bullshit politics.
yeah.
You know,
Well, on you could say on one hand you're sick of losing friends, but on the other hand, maybe your friends are just dickheads for not being able to accept your opinions as well as their own.
oh, there's no question about that. And but here I'm the tolerant one.
I mean, it's true. Like, as a conspiracy enthusiast, like I always say, because I don't like to come up with the theories, I just like to like entertain them. We have basically once you start looking into conspiracies, you basically have to build up a tolerance for normie bullshit, which the more you talk to people, it just sounds like everybody reaches a point that they're willing to go into the conspiracy world and then they just put up a barrier, and anytime you get too close to that they kind of get defensive because it would make sense because
Yeah.
if you go too deep in the conspiracy world you just end up crazy or bitter against the world, and that's no real way to live your life. So kind of lost track. So
Yeah,
anyways,
I would debate that actually, because I think one of the lines I've heard for a long time is, well, they're demoralizing. Conspiracy theories are demoralizing and demotivating, and I think it's actually the opposite.
that's
Um,
true.
I think it's just better to know things. I
Oh
just
yeah.
I think it's better to confront painful truths. It's not easy, but it's not easy the other way because then you live in a state of permanent cognitive dissonance,
Hmm.
and that'll drive you crazy as surely as the other path will, I guess. I mean, either way, madness lies. But at least being crazy and knowing the truth is, I don't know. I think there's an advantage to that. But you're right. What you described, this function is true, and but part of it is that there inevitably reaches a point where a quote unquote theory becomes mainstreamed, and we're seeing that happen right now with Epstein. It's been a long time coming. I'm fascinated to see how all of this unfurls or unwinds.
Oh, in
Uh,
10 years when they go through the 20,000 images? Sorry, I cut you off.
sure, yeah, no, no, that's fine. If you had said, I mean, this potentially the congressional vote could spell the end of this presidency, potentially, if I'm understanding it correctly. The fact that it's gotten this far, and then I saw a figure today is like, a poll suggests that 88% of Congress will vote yes to release those files. Have you seen this?
No, but like,
And Trump's having a meltdown. And I say
yeah.
all this, I'm always, always, always must maintain Trump is just an actor. He's just a figurehead. He may be discarded now because he's fulfilled his function.
Hmm.
He's not useful anymore.
Well,
But
he is
he's
what,
he's
83 anyway?
yeah, I don't know. Is he?
I mean,
He looks great for his age.
how often do dudes in their mid 80s get fast acting cancer out of nowhere?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
A
see,
lot.
my problem with this whole thing, like, if you weren't paying attention or whatever, saw on the internet, what happened was the Democrats released three emails that Epstein had sent to his lawyer, some Michael Wolf. Is that Michael Avocado Wolf or is that two different people?
I don't know.
Okay, anyway, so Michael Wolf is this guy who was talking to Epstein and they released these emails and then the press is like, dude, what are you guys going to do about this? What are you going to do to address this? And then the Republicans released 20,000 emails, but they're all images, so they're not searchable PDF. So it's
Yeah, right.
basically we're going to be hearing about all the shit that comes out in the future as people sift through these images. And it might be, I don't know, like,
This needs to be a very, very carefully managed event because everyone is implicated.
yeah, that's true. Like that's good. Smart on the Republicans because after the what was it, the birthday book came out and they said, "Oh,
Oh,
okay,
fuck yeah.
Ghislaine, don't release anything else. We'll send you the club fed."
Yeah.
My problem is everybody acts like this is the smoking gun to Trump, and then it's like I'm like, all right, let's get to the dirty shit about Trump, and then they're like, did you know Epstein gave his girlfriend to Trump? And it's like, yeah, when she was 20, that's not illegal. That's a 20-year-old girl. Can we talk about how Epstein dated an 18-year-old girl for 2 years? That's gross. I mean, it's gross that Trump's an old guy and he like fucks around on his marriage and shit, but it's not like touching kids gross. Those are two different levels, and like I'm just waiting for this, like, because every time they come out and they're like, can you believe all this bullshit Trump did? And you're like, all right, we finally got this fuck. And then they're like, he dated a 20-year-old girl. And you're like, that's nothing. That's not going to do anything. Hit me with the incriminating stuff. And I don't want to see like 34 felony counts because Trump fucking paid off Stormy Daniels 200 grand. Like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
And all it
Or,
does.
or 4 years of Russiagate, which was completely fraudulent.
Yeah, and the fucking so annoying because the left is like, Russiagate, you know why he's doing it? And they're like, no, why? And it's like, because there's a tape. And you're like, oh shit, what's on this tape? Did he kill a kid? And they're like, no, some Russian girls peed on him. You're like, I have the internet. That's nothing. We've all seen Two Girls, One Cup at this point. They're
Yeah.
supposedly eating cappuccino flavored ice cream, which
Yeah.
they pretend is shit. But, anyways, we all thought it was shit. We watched it. We didn't die. None of us give a fuck if two girls peed on Trump. Like, oh, he had a golden shower and he's going to fucking risk the entire government over that? No. It's just like all of this stuff that they keep finding that's like the smoking gun. I keep saying that term, but like the thing that's gonna get Trump out of our hair and finally fucking shoot him into the sun and we'll never hear from him again is all just like mundane bullshit.
Mm.
Like, yeah, he was friends with Epstein. So was everybody else who was rich and famous in the States at that point and across the world. He had girls at Mar-a-Lago, like he had hot girls serving in Mar-a-Lago. Yeah, like Jeffrey Dupree or whatever. She was like the spa girl who folded the towels. And then they're like, "Can you believe?" Oh, like Trump kicked out Epstein from Mar-a-Lago because in the emails or whatever it says he stole the girls. It's like, yeah, we don't. He doesn't. That doesn't necessarily prove that Trump knew what Epstein was actually up to. It just proves that he knows Epstein dated 18-year-old girls and was a creep and stole an employee away. It doesn't mean they stole her as property. It means like you say someone headhunted your employees and stuff by saying, hey, we got better opportunities, we could pay you more. That doesn't mean Trump's like, oh, they stole her away to put her into the sex trade and traffic her. Like, it doesn't mean that he knew that. And it's just like I've always hated Trump, but it's just the DNC is so fucking annoying and stupid because they keep like pretending their hair's on fire, and then you're like, guy, your hair's not on fire, and just whatever. So it just
Are they stupid or are they just, I mean, they just, again, it's just a role that needs to be filled.
that's true. It could be
And
like
so,
controlled opposition.
well, well, it is. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
it
Well,
is.
I mean, like
There's
my
no
whole
difference.
point is at this point you're just like doing all this little shit, pretending it's big and bad, and then we see it and it's little shit, and then we're just gonna like think the big and bad is actually little shit when we see it. Like you're just like the boy who cried fucking sex trafficking wolf too much.
So I have a higher tier
Ooh.
sort of fear.
This is why you're my
I
conspiracy
mean,
guru.
that's why we're both sober. This sucks. Well, no, whatever comes of this, I mean, what I'm suggesting is that the Epstein story is being normalized, literally. It's the normies are now sort of coming around to the idea that the entire planet is run on uh, uh, blackmail,
Hmm.
and specifically that child sex, pedophilia is like their greatest asset.
Yeah.
And they're coming around to that, which, had you suggested that during Trump's first term, and I did, you would get dismissed. And well, okay, it has now become acceptable. What becomes of that, I don't know. But meanwhile,
Yeah.
is this just yet the newest, and I hate to describe it this way, but the newest distraction, because Trump has he's fulfilled his role in that he has set the table for the sort of like technocratic revolution that is coming to America and coming to Canada and is seizing Europe and seizing every Western quote unquote democracy. And that was always his job, was just to, hand it over to the tech oligarchs. He did that. And there was lots of drama, there was that WWF fight between him and Elon Musk.
Oh
I mean,
God.
this is all like bread and circuses, right?
Hmm.
The scaffolding is being built around us very, very visibly. We are entering into an era of technocratic totalitarianism. It's right in front of us now. The hour is really late for us to be taking a partisan position or fighting these meaningless battles between the fake left and the fake right.
Yeah.
Right? It's none of it is important. None of the stuff that I rail about, all of these uh, manufactured issues. I mean, the gender ideology is a great one because it has been, if you really fucking spend the time to look at it, it has been pushed uh, religiously by governments in the corporate world.
Hmm.
That's there. I've said this a million times. I've said it till I'm blue in the face, and here I am doing it again, getting involved in this meaningless fight yet again. Aside from that, it's hurting people, so that does upset me. But this is the most well supported, well funded, protected minority group in history. And it's
Yeah.
because somebody in power wants us arguing about it because it's such a brilliant distraction and it's a dangerous distraction. But meanwhile, we are it's happening really fast now.
Hmm.
You know, we again we go back to our last episode. There's Starmer. I'm still curious as to why he jumped the gun. Uh, but digital ID, he promises it's coming by 2029. It's coming to Canada. It's coming everywhere. My God, we have to fucking resist it.
Yeah.
It's the end. That's it. That's like things become really serious if and when that happens.
Hmm. Yeah, no doubt. Like it's like I don't know. That's
So
like a sorry?
now then, fuck
Okay.
Trump. Fuck Trump too.
Fuck Trump. And it sucks because it's like you almost cheer for him because he like just seems like unstable and he's gonna fucking somehow fuck around like the globalists. Remember that term when before we were allowed to before it was just accepted that yeah, there are globalists and whatever, it's fine.
Yeah.
Um like we just think that somehow he's gonna fuck up their shit and burn it down. But I don't know for the, like just
Yeah, he
to
was
put
never going to
a
drain the swamp. I mean, that's all
yeah
silly.
to put a
If
but
you had
like
your head on straight at the time, you knew that it was silly.
yeah
You
and
knew that he was never a threat to power ever.
yeah
He
and
was part of the swamp.
yeah, I think they just showed him. They're like, if you drain the swamp, this is what's left. Like they just showed him the fucking mechanized industrial f horror city that the water of the swamp is hiding. Like back to like put a pin on the whole Epstein thing. My opinion is like I keep saying it, but I think it's all to deal with arms deals and fucking just bad shit that the states did with Israel and like selling shit like other companies, and they were just basically like orchestrating war like it was a big game board. And then if they find out like all the arms deals that Epstein did, because if you look back at it, I can't remember his name, but anyways, some guy was on a podcast talking about how Epstein was the like the guy who was like assistant or whatever to one of the guys that was in the Contra scandal. And it's like, oh, if Epstein
Yeah.
was that in there in the 80s, where was he 30 years later?
Yeah.
Because Epstein was like off and
I mean,
popping until like
it's
2017.
it's a complex. I mean, so many things folded into the Epstein story, of course, and it's been going
Hmm.
on forever. And Epstein is just one person. This is just one network. There
Yeah.
have been others. He comes from the world of Roy Cohn and uh, and then like look, Diddy. There's another one. There's just these networks are real. They're extremely powerful. Sometimes they get exposed. Some of them don't get exposed. I mean, there's a pretty strong tenet out there amongst people. Like Catherine Austin Fitts will say it. If you know their names, they're not that important.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
We don't know the names of the real players.
No. Yeah, we just know the figureheads and
We
the
know the
guys that
figureheads,
they,
and we know the ones who are uh, there to be available to be sacrificed if need be.
yeah, that's true. Like the
That
scapegoats,
like
like how Epstein.
Prince Andrew. If they can fucking throw Prince Andrew under the bus, consider
Yeah,
who's being protected.
that's a good
Consider
point.
that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Dead
So,
air.
yeah, dead air. I'm just trying. What do you want to?
I don't
Uh,
know.
oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
Not to like harp on the whole. This is not Epstein dealing Trump. This is just another aspect of what annoys me about the left and Trump. So Trump has that thing where they basically railroaded him and used like lawfare to get at him when in between his two terms, whatever, like 2020 to 2024, when the DNC basically threw everything they fucking could at him to try get rid of him. That's where the 34 felonies came from. And then Trump sued the DOJ, the Justice Department of Justice, when he wasn't the president because he felt that he had lawfare levied against him on behalf of the DNC, the Democrats, through the DOJ, and it was unfair and it was unlawful. And so this was like, I think he did this like 2022, 2023, and then the courts or whatever finding like, yeah, this was unlawful, the whole Russiagate and everything that happened to basically everything that happened to Trump for like 6 years up into that point. So they're like, well, Trump would be entitled to 230 million. So if you're like heard about this 230 million that Trump is saying the Department of Justice owes him for the fucking like trials and tribulations they put him through. And everybody's like, well, I can't believe Trump would do this. He's the president. Of course they're going to do that. But it's like, on the other hand, you're like, yeah, no, he should take that money because the definitely like we all hate Trump and we all wanted to get rid of him, but we can't let our TDS kind of dog walk us into a area of totalitarianism where we just let the government do whatever the fuck they want to people, even ex-presidents who we just fucking hate. So I think Trump should get the 230 million and the DOJ shouldn't do shit like Russia Gate and fucking just
But if
lawfare
he gets the
stuff.
230 million, it's not going to prevent the DOJ from their next act of corrupt. Its next
No,
act
it's
of
not.
corruption.
But it like it's I don't know. It's kind of hard because it's like it's the same DOJ and he's just in charge of it now, so he would just get the money. But it's also like, yeah, you're right. It wouldn't stop the DOJ from doing anything like that in the future, but it would stop, like, I guess, I don't know, because it's like you want to think that other parties and would be like, we're not going to do that because I had to pay him like 230 million, kind of like the Fox thing where they had to pay that voting company. Fuck, I can't remember that name either. You know when they said the
Oh,
machines were fucking corrupt or whatever and like Tucker
Diebold?
was involved.
Talking
No,
about
it was the voting machines, I can't remember. But
Diebold.
was it Diebold?
Well, it was Diebold in the Bush era.
Yeah, but it was the ones after
And
that.
Mark Crispin Miller did a lot of work on that and
Yeah, and
showed
it
them.
was Tucker Carlson was involved because he sent text messages to the his producers at Fox and be like, I don't think we should be saying shit like this on the air. And then they used that as proof that Fox knew what they were saying about the voting machines was lying. So they ended up having to pay billions of dollars to this voting machine company. I can't
Oh.
fucking remember. Hold on. I gotta Google this, otherwise I mean, I already look like an idiot, but I would like to.
No, you just look a little more pink than usual.
That's the different lighting. Tucker Carlson. Oh wait,
Well, what this is, we should here's
Fox voting.
is it real this that Trump is suing the BBC for $5 billion or something? Is
Yeah,
that
but
real?
he like that he
Insane.
should because the BBC Dominion voting machines. Sorry, I don't know why I couldn't think of that.
Oh, yeah, no,
But
I didn't.
yeah. So, anyways, what happened was Fox News was saying like when Biden won, Fox was saying that the Dominion voting machines were fucking faulty and you can't trust them. And then the Dominion company sued Fox for billions of dollars and won. Um, the thing for BBC was Trump suing the BBC saying they owe him money. And it's true, like all
So
of
this
these
is
upper echelon news organizations shouldn't just be wildly saying shit, even though we all fucking hate the guy. There's a point where you can't just say infactual shit.
I often will quote Norm Macdonald, and I'm going to do it again. But with the Trump BBC story, ultimately, where do I land on that? I hope everybody involved in this story dies.
Hmm.
But there is something satisfying to me about Donald Trump suing the BBC for $5 billion. It's so cartoonish for
It's a lot
five
of
billion,
money.
$5 billion, and just only because, well, I should say this, Trump is a villain. But reality is such that once in a while, like the poles will switch. There's a flicker of a pole switch, and then for a
Yeah.
moment, a villain can do something good or worthy or worthwhile. And yeah, just like applying that kind of pressure to the BBC, even though the BBC could withstand it, I don't think. Who
Yeah.
knows how it'll play out? It's not going to destroy the BBC,
It's
but
not
it's
going
sure
to
going to
gawkerize
it's
them.
going to upset a lot of people that I think are enemies of humanity.
Yeah.
People working inside that organization, people I know too, old friends working inside that organization, and they are the enemies of humanity. And I can assure you, they hate you and me. They hate regular people,
Oh
and
yeah.
they will pursue their ideological fixations to the bitter end.
Hmm.
Um, even as those ideological fixations contribute to the collapse of their worlds, the lives they've known forever. That it gets. So anyway, I'm eager to see how that all plays out.
I hope Trump's wins, not because I want Trump to have $5 more billion, but because the BBC can't. As the BBC, they're supposed to be the like look down their nose at you journalism, and you're like,
Well,
yeah,
they are
these
looking
guys,
down their noses at you.
yeah, these guys are snobby fucks, and I hate them. But you should be able to be like, well, if they think they're so smart and they're so prim and proper, they better be telling me the truth. And then when they're like lying and stretching stories just to like sell papers because everybody has TDS, then yeah, they should get slapped with it. My favorite
But
example of this is the Gawker thing.
all right, go on. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so like what happened with the Gawker was they put up the sex tape of Hulk Hogan fucking Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. And on that, he was like, they're doing pillow talk and it's Hulk Hogan. And he said racist shit. And every person on the planet was like, yeah, it's Hulk Hogan. He was like the most famous white guy in the 80s. Of course he's racist. Whatever. I'm not going to get into the morality of it because that's not I don't judge other people's moralities and stuff. He shouldn't have said it. But he sued Gawker for putting that up and basically ruining his career. And then everybody's like, well, how's Hulk? Because this was back then, Hulk Hogan was poor. He had no job. He had no money. So you just figure, yeah, Gawker will sue him and he'll be like, his life will be destroyed and it'll be like the fucking tragic end to our everybody's boyhood hero. But then a mysterious super rich guy steps in and starts backing Hulk Hogan. And everybody's like, whoa, how does Hulk Hogan have all this money? So Hulk Hogan sues Gawker, and they try to do the thing where you basically sue you till you run out of money and you go away. But the other thing happened was because Hulk Hogan just had this backer and he had so much money. I think it was ridiculous. Like they spent like $1 billion or something in his defense fund. And so he ends up winning, and the damages were more than Gawker was worth. And then so Gawker got shut down. And I was like, well, good. You can't have this fucking shitty website as much as I like gossip. You can't really just impede on people's like privacy and like posting private videos that they don't want up that was taken
Well,
in
it's
the
always been a function of the media, certainly in the United States in the 20th century. And the thing you always have to remember is that the media is directly connected to the intelligence world. So
Oh, that's true.
what I like to remind people is like, National Enquirer, which doesn't have the presence it used to. But when we were
Oh
growing
yeah.
up, National Enquirer was like the sleaziest of the tabloid rags, and it was also the easiest to get. It was fucking right there in front of you whenever you bought your groceries.
Yeah, it was at
An
the checkout
enormous,
aisle.
enormously influential and successful newspaper that was created by a CIA agent. you know,
Yeah.
because what it served, and it served several uses. One, it was in the same sense that blackmail is used still to control everyone.
Mhm.
The threat of a story breaking in the National Enquirer, if you were a starlet that was getting out of hand or somebody who was maybe speaking up too much about something, they'd take you down. They'd
Yeah.
take you down, and popular opinion would be influenced hugely. Equally, how many real stories which were dangerous to power or authority actually ended up getting dumped in the National Enquirer, where it didn't matter anymore because it was the National Enquirer. Who knows if it's real or not?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because there's like that weird dichotomy where it's like if it's in the Inquirer, it'll ruin your reputation, but also nobody believes it at the same time, but it
Exactly.
still
Yeah.
works. Yeah.
It was a fantastically successful operation. And
So
now,
yeah,
Dasha, because I think the thing with Gawker, you mentioned this to me the other day, but Peter Thiel was behind
yeah,
all that.
that's the end of the story was the person who was backing Hulk Hogan
Yeah.
was Peter Thiel because in 2007 Gawker outed Peter Thiel as a homosexual when he didn't want that to happen when he was like 40 or something. So he was I respect this amount of bitterness, but I also know it's because Peter Thiel's probably actually evil and like took it as a slight, but he spent like $1 billion of his own money to back. I'm sorry, I don't know. It was a million. It could have been like 100 million. I don't know. Numbers and money just kind of lost value lately because they're so big. But he spent all this money on like Hogan's fund and he destroyed Gawker and Gawker got shut down because they ended up owing more than they were worth and all this stuff. And then Peter Thiel just had it as a feather in his cap that he destroyed Gawker. And then Hulk Hogan, I guess, kind of made a little bit of a comeback and was allowed to like work at WWE and TNA again. And so he was allowed to have a job. But the whole reason I love this story was because Gawker got fucking out over their skis. They thought they were bigger than they are. They thought they were bigger than the game. Like they could just fucking do whatever they want. They could post videos of our childhood heroes who are basically pieces of shit, but we don't want to know about it. And they can out like billionaires and just not suffer the repercussions of it. And then one billionaire steps in and be like, "No, you're fucking done." And then they just disappeared. And now that I'm talking it through, I kind of see how it's bad that Peter Thiel just kind of made this company that made him look bad disappear. But on the other hand, the whole point of the story is as a media organization, you shouldn't just say wild, unfounded shit and expect to get away with it because somewhere there's a bitter billionaire who's going to take you out.
Well, the bitter billionaires become, yeah. Well, my fear as you say all this is that Boing Boing or maybe Vulture is going to produce a video of ultrasound technician rubbing pigeon piss jelly into on my bum, and then I'm fucked.
You will literally have nowhere left to go,
Well, I
Adrian.
got no fucking Peter Thiel backing me. But you know who does? And now
Oh.
she's in hot water. So this is interesting. This happened in the last 24 hours is Dasha Nekrasova
Yeah,
has
can you explain? Like, you told me who this
I
was.
can't
She's
really
like,
explain. I mean, I've
she's
interviewed her.
she's part
She's
of a
nice.
podcast that I'd never heard of,
Yeah, Red
which
Scare.
I
Red
don't know.
Scare, which is sort of quasi affiliated with the sort of the dirtbag leftists that had a certain amount of purchase on the culture a few years ago, and now who gives a shit about them? But like the Chapo Trap House guys, the Cumtown guys, who are now being marketed into their further along in their career. Like Adam Friedland is what he's supposed to be the left wing Joe Rogan. It's all such nonsense. But Red Scare was like these uh two New York women of Russian or well, Dash is from Belarus, but Russian basically, who were they were affiliated with the dirtbag left, but curiously were very open to um, a lot of sort of what you might call right wing thinking, and so in any case, Dasha has been punished. She's also an actress and a filmmaker, and she's just the big agency she was with has fired her because they had Nick Fuentes on the show, or she went on his show, or some such thing, ignoring for the moment that they all, they've also had she spoke to Bronze Age pervert and a bunch of like maybe Curtis Yarvin, and a bunch of people inside that world of sort of neo, what do you even call them? Neo fascist isn't the right word, but getting dangerous characters, I guess.
Just anti-Zionist, openly proud anti-Zionist, pretty much, or does it go further than that?
I don't even know. I don't
Because
even
like,
know.
because Nick Fuentes, it's weird that they're probably taking her out because they can't take out like fucking Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson because they also have recently had Nick Fuentes on. And if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, he's basically like the new, what was that guy Spencer like 10 years ago? The fucking up and coming white supremacist Nazi guy who was
Richard
just,
Spencer.
yeah, Richard Spencer, who like got punched in the face and then basically everybody said punch a Nazi and his career was over. But Nick Fuentes is just this guy who, when he was 18, he was like, started saying anti-Jewish stuff, and he didn't have the like high-minded nuance to like say anti-Zionism shit without getting in trouble for looking like an anti-Semitic, which nobody really could basically dance that line. So
But
he got like they tried to flamethrower him off and they canceled him. They took him off all the platforms. And then with
wasn't there also recently a video emerged of him sucking off that idiot, that moron Destiny? That went nowhere.
I don't remember
There's
that.
him and Destiny were in a gay lovers clinch.
Yeah. And
They're all
ba-
disgusting. I hope everyone involved in this story dies.
and basically, Nick Fuentes is only coming back because the world is basically so upset that Israel just did a genocide and it's looking like they're going to get away with it. That voices like Nick Fuentes, who are saying like anti-Semitic stuff, anti-Zionist shit, they're starting to get purchased because, like, if you ask any conspiracy theorist who was around like 15 years ago, the big the big bad third rail that you don't talk about was that like there's this theory that Jews control everything, and like it was the big bad thing, and everybody's
Yeah.
like, that's absurd. How can you say it? And if you like look at David Icke, like nobody, he's not a household name anymore because he brought this up too much, and then they just shot him into the forest, and now no, he's also kind of crazy, and he's from Britain, so. There's like a line dance that you got to dance where it's like, is he crazy or is he British? Is this their weird like whimsical humor or is he just a nutbag? So,
He was
anyways,
he was a BBC sportscaster first.
yeah, he was a professional soccer player, and then like
Yeah.
he had like
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
MS or something, so he had to quit, and then he was like super popular, and then he started kind of being like, my team lost because of the Jews, and then he started like talking about lizard people and how Jewish people control everything, and everyone's like, that's preposterous. And now you look at like fucking Epstein again, who was obviously part of Mossad and was like an Israeli intelligence thing, and then you look how Israel basically just gets to do a genocide, and we're all like, if we criticize it, we're anti-Semitic, and you're like, yeah, no, these guys are fucking demons. And then you got like a guy like fucking Netanyahu just basically is still walking the earth freely. Like that doesn't
Mhm.
make sense. Like there's probably countries who like maybe have the balls to arrest him on war crimes if he goes there, but
I mean, well,
not.
let's just for the record, it's a Zionist thing, not a Jewish thing that we're
Yeah,
talking.
no, I know like that's I guess that's my whole point is because like
But you couldn't even, yeah, you can say that now, and
yeah.
it maybe it has a bit more impact, or it's more believable than if you said it 15
Mhm.
years ago. Because then you were just accused of going, oh, you're just, you're saying Zionist, but you really mean Jew. And well, that was always a sleazy attack, but it doesn't work now. I don't
Yeah,
think.
and it's basically like nobody knew the difference between Zionism and being Jewish like 10 years ago. Well, I didn't. When I say everybody, I just say that so that it makes me look less stupid in hindsight. But it's like, yeah, and like nobody knew the term Christian Zionist, where there were like Christians who were backing up Israel's plans in the Middle East because they wanted to trigger Armageddon or whatever. So, yeah, so now it's like you can actually say Zionist and Jewish, and the like normies actually know the difference. So
Yeah.
and then that's kind of like why Nick Fuentes is coming back because people are like, maybe he was just talking bad about the Zionists this whole time, and then he just like Adrian said, he was like humping that Destiny. Is it a he or a she that she goes by?
He's a guy.
But
So,
isn't she transgender?
Destiny? No, no, it's a dude with a beard. I don't know. I don't
Wow.
because I don't care about these people, and they're all garbage,
Yeah.
and they're all there to so that you and
Yeah.
me and everybody else will fucking waste our time talking about them. But
Yeah.
I just
So
wanted to bring up Dasha because I think Red Scare
yeah.
is is backed by Peter Thiel on some level.
Oh.
And in any case, they're just friendly with that world. They're friendly with that world of um, extremely dangerous and very very influential transhumanists and tech oligarchs.
Hmm.
And those are the people we should be looking at.
Yes.
Not the figureheads, but those people.
Do you
And
think? Sorry. I was
no,
just gonna say, like you say transhumanist, and I'm like, do you think part like, and you were also saying before how transgender got all this push out of nowhere. Do you think at least a small fraction of it is just so that when we hear transhumanist, we'll be like, oh, where's that guy transphobe? It's like it's almost like the Google hacking where it's like you say one term, so every time you're looking for a different term, the other one comes up. So it's like every time you want to like talk about transhumanists and basically that's people who want to put our consciousness into robots. So, which sounds fucking stupid and ridiculous because it is. Because that's dumb. So, anyways, it's like now every time you talk about transhumanists and they're stupid, like I want to put my consciousness in a robot and live forever so I can save my money for my robot body to count. So it's every time you want to like talk bad about them, you kind of like your brain kind of for 1 second is just like, wait, is he talking about transsexuals or
that's
transhumanism? So it's
I
like,
think that's actually kind of an interesting idea, and I think
yeah,
yeah, if you can just somehow uh, put some sort of spell on the term trans so that
yeah,
yeah so that a bunch of like normies who aren't really thinking about stuff and who wear their t-shirts that say protect trans kids because they think it's the right thing to do and bless their hearts it's a sincere
hmm,
belief of theirs. Yeah, anything trans now is worth protecting or defending.
hmm,
And so, yeah, because they don't know what transhumanism is, and you describe it as these guys who want to upload their consciousness to some sort of robot or whatever. But it's much more than that. It's like it's a religious belief that human life has been superseded by technology, and that they must accelerate this process whereby humans are just dispensed with, or at the very least, heavily controlled. And the transhumanist agenda is what you see all around us. It's we have now I'll reveal myself as a truly crazy person now, I suppose, but I have
yes,
no there's no doubt in my mind that the depopulation agenda, which has been an ardent desire of these groups for as long as I've been alive, and since long before then, actually, it goes right back to Fabianism and late 19th or late 19th century, people like
hmm,
H.G. Wells, whomever. They believe there's too many people and that people are sort of functionally useless mostly,
hmm,
and that utopia would be a much leaner planet in terms of human life.
like the Georgia Guidestones. that got
Right.
blown
What the
up.
fuck was that all about?
Yeah, like it's on there they said I think you can't have a world population of
Maintain
more
at
than 500 million or something.
427,000 or something.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. But yeah, no, they're like basically.
But all this stuff, I mean, mRNA vaccines are an
Mhm.
aspect of the transhumanist plan. Whether you want to believe it or not, but look into it. Look
Yeah.
into it.
You know
Who's behind
what's
that? Who financed this? Who has been pushing it?
Are you
Same
familiar with
boat.
Know?
Yeah.
So
I don't claim to really understand it though.
no, like I did a couple episodes on the Dale Show of Gnosticism, and the thing is that always reminds me whenever anybody says population like control or depopulation and stuff, it just reminds me of Gnosticism because one of their beliefs is that um Yaldabaoth, who was like the Old Testament God, was like a fake god, and these entities tricked him into blowing his like godly essence into Adam, and then basically so then Adam had the power of God inside of him, but he was still human. And then like the Nephilim came, and then they interbred with humans, and then the Yaldabaoth, the Old Testament God, was like, I can't have these people living this long. They have too much power. They'll figure out how to use it. So he made us only live 120 years. But the point is that since he breathed his godly essence into humans, he was always trying to get it back. And
Hmm.
then he introduced like sex and sex for pleasure and stuff, and basically made us so fucking horny to create more kids because the way they see it is humanity has this godly essence in it, but it's each person has a tiny sliver of it. So the
The
more
divine
people,
spark, right?
yeah, so the more people there are on the planet, the weaker it is in all of us. So it's like whenever you say
Hmm.
depopulation and shit, it's like I think maybe there's like this Gnosticism belief that if we just cut the population in half, maybe our god power inside of us just doubles type of
Right.
deal.
Yeah, I don't know about that. So that's interesting. So you're suggesting that transhumanism is derived in some way from Gnosticism.
It could be. I'm just saying it's like a coincidence and they kind of like would go hand in hand with each other. And every time, as a conspiracy enthusiast, every time you hear the word coincidence, you're like, that's not fake. That's on purpose. So that's just like every time somebody says depopulation, I think, well, that would actually help the Gnosticists, the Gnosticism believers.
The Gnostics.
Ah, there you go. That's why
If
you're the
you
guru.
if you aren't s- slightly alarmed by high coincidence, then you are a coincidence theorist.
Yeah.
And I think it's much worse to be a coincidence theorist than a conspiracy theorist.
Did you ever read that book, The Celestine Prophecy?
No.
That was what,
I wouldn't
2000s?
waste my time on shit like that. Yeah, it was around, yeah, Celestine Prophecy, 90s.
Yeah, I remember reading it, and I don't remember what it was about, but I just remember the big thing about the Celestian prophecies is there is no such thing as coincidences, and every time you see one, that's you tapping into some energy and realizing something about the world.
Yeah, so this is just yet again another hack shit coding
Oh
ideas.
yeah,
I believe, but here we got to wrap this up soon.
yeah,
So I'm going to tell you a recent BBC story.
yeah. Give me the dirt. Let's
It's
get
personal.
canceled like
It's
Gawker.
this is personal. It's just fun. It's a funny and
Oh,
personal
love
BBC
it.
story. And actually, this happened about what year are we? 20. This would be about 14, 15 years ago. But okay, I have a friend, and I went to school with a person. I'm not gonna give a name here, but this person is very, very, very successful.
Mm.
Very successful writer,
Get him to sponsor
broadcast
the podcast.
broadcaster, and a good guy, a friend. Like to
Oh,
this
nice.
day, I still consider this person a friend. Um, Not that we see each other much, but once in a while, I'll get a little ping, and and okay, I revealed his biological sex, but not how he identifies, or she, they.
Oh, you can't say that because that narrows it down even more. Now I
This
gotta look
so
for.
this lady that I used to know as a guy,
Is it
uh,
Destiny?
no, no, and I might be throwing some red herrings around here.
Okay.
But very, very successful. I believe if my friend came and sat at my bar, we'd get along like a house on fire, like we always did. But we would definitely have some very different ideas about the world. We have diverged in our belief systems for sure. But I will say this person maybe profited from sort of looking into examining the areas of interest that we share, and maybe coming out on the side of the establishment. Let's put it that
Hmm.
way. But I love this person. Nonetheless, about 14 years ago, I got a phone call. I was sitting at the desk, and this very plummy voice on the other end goes, "Yes, Adrian, my name is Simon. I'm calling from the BBC." And I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Am I famous? Am I rich now?
Well,
Is
this
that
is
why
the
you're
thing.
calling me?
He said, I work for such and such, and they're thinking of putting together a show on a certain topic, and we think that you might be a good interview subject. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the topic? And he goes, well, people who've had potential or tremendous potential in life, but somehow haven't really taken advantage of it. I know. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
Who are we
Please,
talking about? That's
please,
obviously
may
not me.
I?
What are you, a high school guidance counselor? You fucks.
It was the weirdest thing. So anyway, I was like, yeah, of course, let's do it. What do you want? So they actually, the BBC, like hired, paid for an hour of recording in a studio in Vancouver, and I had to get there at 6 in the morning. They had the engineer and the technician there and everything, and we did a live. 'Cause this was some time ago, so you would just do Zoom now, but back then it was studio to studio. Right? High price studio to
Yeah.
high price studio on an international fucking line, and we did an hour. And it started with me saying, "It's great to hear your voice again, and thank you for choosing me as your poster boy for failure." And then, and then it kind of devolved from there. And really, my feeling was, I don't know if I could possibly give them anything useful, but I'm gonna make them pay. So they did.
Nice.
It was like an hour of me just sitting there deflecting these questions and admitting, yeah, probably should have done more with my life. You're right. But my friend kept saying, the thing about you is that you were so good looking. He kept saying that.
Gay?
We were kids.
Yeah.
No, he's not at all. Well, I have some questions. But they're not important questions, and I certainly wouldn't put together a whole fucking program about it. I would call this guy and say, "Hey, I want to do a show about guys that I think might be gay." Uh, anyway, yeah, they a couple of weeks later, I got another phone call from the BBC, and
Yeah.
they said, "We decided not to go ahead with the program, but thanks for your assistance."
You just torched his whole show. That's amazing. They're like, okay, this guy wants to have this show, and he's got this good idea for a fucking interview subject, and then they call you up, and you just give him fucking Adrian, both barrels of Adrian Mac, and he's like, all right, maybe we're not going to do the show because it's actually a dickhead thing to say to someone to their face. Be like, hey,
Well,
why aren't
yeah,
you rich and famous like me?
that's
You
true.
used to be hot. Did
No,
you fuck enough women to
no,
validate that
we didn't
hotness?
get into that. But he did. There was the other part of it was like I was genuinely delighted to just have a conversation with my friend. It was kind of fun too, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you this because, I'm not indicting my friend in this about this, but I do want to say the culture of the BBC is that they really do have very little respect for normal people, for regular people,
Yeah,
for
they're like,
anyone who isn't inside their protected and sort of auspicious and
mhm.
very privileged media bubble.
Yeah, they're
Um,
like anybody who didn't fucking lie and cheat their way into being rich, why the fuck not? What's wrong with them?
yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to say for the record, Adrian, you're still good looking.
Thanks. I disagree. I respectfully disagree.
Okay. You're entitled to your opinion even if it's wrong, sir.
Anyway, all right. I gotta go.
Dude, how amazing would it be to have that hour-long recording just as a podcast episode?
It wouldn't be very good.
I'd like it.
I was
Just
so
you
actually kind of
flaming British guys.
I was kind of fucked up about it so badly that I had insomnia, so I ended up
Hmm.
going to the studio with I'd had no sleep, so I suspect I actually sounded slightly psychotic.
Oh yeah, I'm probably bitter. Well, whatever happened, I'm on your side, Adrian, even if you were
Okay,
wrong.
thanks.
Oh, that was episode 281, I think. Should have said that at the beginning, but I always forget. I mean, you guys aren't really paying attention to the numbers. You're just paying attention to our hot, sexy takes.
We have so few viewers. You could reach out to every single one of them and it would take 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'd be like, "What'd you guys think about the show?" They'd be like, "Actually,
What number show was that?
yeah, we didn't get to where you said the number. It just shows up as a YouTube view anyway, even though we didn't watch the whole thing." And I'm like, "Cool, I'm not stopping doing this, even though nobody watches because it's therapy for me. This is
Yeah,
me."
same. I quite enjoy it. So thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I mean, it's an excuse to talk to you for an hour. I'll fucking take that. I don't even have to tell you how you failed at life.
And it's so much cheaper.
Exactly. Zoom. Although it'd be nice to have the backing of the BBC.
Well, until, that $5 billion lawsuit
Oh, that's true.
finally collapses it.
In a previous life, I was a snooty British person.
All
uh,
right.
anything you want to say? We didn't get to all the stuff on the list, but hey, we had fun.
I didn't see a list, so yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we'll
Until next time,
see you in 2 weeks.
angry. Sorry, what did you say? I cut you off.
I said see you in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah,
But
see you
also
in 2
stay
weeks.
angry.
Yeah,